Everybody, this is Jason with devslopes.com, and we are going to add on to this section that we've just built here. All right, so what's really cool about this is we've added these images and buttons. All right, and then when you click on it, it opens up a modal with a iframe to play a YouTube video. All right, and then we've got some text in here. All right, and then we can click on this one. You'll notice it's a little bit smaller, and then the last one here is tiny. So we're going to be working with modals. I'm going to show you how you can embed a video in it, and then on top of that, how we can actually change the size of our modal. So first things first, let's dive into Bootstrap. So go ahead and go to Bootstrap 4 on your web browser. And then click on the documentation, and we're going to scroll down and right into the components again, and then click on modal right down here. All right, so down here we've already worked with modals, right? We've added a data target to a modal to trigger the ID in it. So we've got these different types of modal examples. We use this basic one already, and as we dive down, it gives you examples of like a long scrolling one, how to add content to that, how to use the grid system in a modal, which we've already done. And then right here, we have optional sizes. So for an example, it gives us a demo here. I click on large, and it expands this full width here, and then we have small. Now, what we're going to do in this is I want you to just copy this large modal. See where it says large modal here? We're not going to copy the button. We're going to copy directly what's underneath the button. And then I'm going to dive in and explain how this modal works a little bit differently from the modals we've used already. So come back over to your text editor, and we've got all these fancy buttons here that we've created. So right in the section where we've created the modals, we've got the cool stuff modal. Right underneath that modal, create some space and put a comment. I'm going to do kickflip modal. Okay, just so we know what modal we're working with. And I'm going to go ahead and paste this. All right, and obviously we're going to change the content that's in here. All right, so let's come up to our kickflip button first. This top one right here. And we need to add a data toggle. All right, this is so we can, Bootstrap's telling us to toggle the modal when this class is clicked, when this button is clicked. And then we need to add a data target. All right, and right now I'm going to leave this empty. So in the past, when we have used data targets, we have put the pound sign in here, right? And then we've named our data target something unique. And then the modal has an ID of the same name as this data target to trigger it. Well, we've used the pound sign before. Bootstrap actually allows us to even use a class in this example. All right. So first, I got to get some honey, guys. My voice is a little bit sketchy. Let it drip. Let it drip. So, supposedly, honey, it's said, helps soothe the throat as for like people who sing. So not only in this course are you learning about Bootstrap, but you're learning about skateboarding, and you just learned a really cool tip about honey. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and add a class to this. So remember, to add a class, we're using a period. For IDs, we add a pound sign, right? But we're grabbing a class here. And I'm going to call this a kickflip. Why don't we just call it the kickflip modal? All right, pretty easy. So we've got a kickflip modal. Now that we've added this class to our button in the data target, let's go down and work with this modal we just created. So right now, we've got the class of modal, which we told it to do a data toggle of modal. We've got the fade, so it fades in. But right here is where we're going to add the name of the data target we just added. And look where it is. it's inside of the class because we called a class, right, with the period. Traditionally, this has been an ID, but in this case, we're using a class. And we're going to change this part to kickflip. Actually, you know what? Why don't we just do this? Let's use kickflip modal large. You have to have this modal large here because this part of the class is going to tell Bootstrap that we're using a large modal here. In the other 3 modals that we create, we're going to be using a medium and a small. But the first one we want to be large. So go ahead and copy this. Let's come back up to our button right here and grab it from the kickflip modal, just delete it and paste in the kickflip modal large. I guess you could have just added the large to it and make sure that you've got your period in there. All right, so let's test this out and make sure that we're calling our modal. So make sure everything's saved. Let's go ahead and launch this again. All right, so coming down here, this should trigger our modal, and it does. And we've got a large modal in here. This is very, very cool. All right, so now let's just add some more content to this. Let's go ahead and add a YouTube video. All right, so coming back to brackets, let's dive down into our modal, and it is right here, our kickflip modal. So here's the content. Go ahead and erase these 3 dots here. And this area here is where we're going to add our iframe. So let's come over to our browser, scroll up, we're in the Bootstrap documentation, and what we're going to be going to is right over here to utilities. All right, and then in the utilities, we're going to go to the responsive helpers. All right, and here we can read that it says responsive embeds allow browsers to determine video or slideshow dimensions based on the width of their containing block by creating an intrinsic ratio that will properly scale on any device. So here's the different types of embeds and responsives that we can use. And then if you come down here, it has an example of a YouTube video. And it has this class right here. And let's look at how they're using this. So they've got this embed responsive. All right, so that way the video is going to flex with the viewport size, so it can change its aspect ratio. And then over here, we're actually setting the size of the video, which is in this case a 16:9. That's most standard video play. All right, and then over here they have 4 different ratios that you can use: the 21:9, 16.9, 4:3s, and 1:1. All right, and we're going to be using the 16:9 aspect ratio. So you can actually go ahead and just copy this. And let's see. Actually, you know what? Don't copy this one. I apologize. Copy this one. And the reason why is because I want this text right here in the source, because this is what we need to start with. And it's the right size, the 16:9. So go ahead and copy that, and back in your text editor, go ahead and paste it in there. All right, so right inside of the modal content, we've now got this responsive video player. Right now, it's playing the Willy Wonka video, which I think we should change it and do something a little bit cooler. So let's go back over to your browser. I'm going to go to YouTube here. And you can grab any YouTube video that you want. The one that I'm specifically searching for is a skateboarding video of me. Just a little intro video I made. So Jason Brewer, and then intro clip. Okay, and if you're looking for this video, type it with the camel case C there. And it's going to be this clip right here. All right. So, and it looks like there's some other videos of me. Pretty cool. Just kidding. All right, so go ahead and click on the share button. And then all we want is the last part of this. It's going to make me highlight the whole thing, isn't it? It is. Go ahead and copy the whole thing for now. The reason why we don't want to put this link inside of our HTML is because this is a share link, okay? The way that the YouTube is parsed in here, the browser has a really hard time of reading that. This is meant to be a share link to send to other people. All right, so go ahead and come back to brackets. And what I'm going to do is delete everything right before the embed /. Go ahead and add like 2 spaces and paste in the video that you just grabbed. But remember, we just need this last part. So go ahead and delete all that. So now you should have 2 / www.youtube.com/embed. That way the browser knows that this is an embedded video. And then we've grabbed the ID of the video. All right, so let's go ahead and save that and come back to our browser and check it out. I'm going to refresh it. And there it is. There is our video in here. So this is pretty cool. And then we can go ahead and add a text box here just to add some simple text. So let's go ahead and do that. So just head on over to brackets, and then we want to make sure we're still in the modal content and outside of the responsive frame here. And just under it, let's just add a paragraph tag, something simple. And then let's type kickflips are easy. Pop, flick, catch, land. And then we'll just put in this boom. All right, I love it. So kickflips are easy. Pop, flick, catch, land. Now you know how to do a kickflip. Pretty cool stuff. All right, so we've built the first modal, and let's go ahead and check it out. And it's added our text, and that's fine. We're not gonna, spend any time styling this. I just want you to know that you can add additional content to this. You can put a video and put some forms, some text, some more images and info, whatever you want to. And you can structure it all with rows and columns. All right, so back over here, what I want you to do is copy this. And then let's actually make a note. This one's going to be the 360 flip. Okay. And then paste that. And then what we're going to do on this, remember we're triggering this with a modal. All right, and so I'm going to change this to 360. All right, and then let's see, let's change the text here. Go ahead and delete that, and then write 360 flips are easy. All right, pop. This one's actually a scissor kick. All right, scissor kick. Catch it with some stees, and then go ahead and land it with bolts. All right, and we need another boom because that's a cool trick. All right, and then go ahead and copy it one more time. Come down. This one's going to be our backside crook. Let me scroll down here, and we're going to paste it. And then this one, I'm just going to write, yeah, we'll do backside crook. All right, and go ahead and delete this text. Backside crooks are sick. Let's see. Nollie in. I think nollie has an I at the end. Nollie in, nollie out. Ah, yeah. And then, of course, we got to add our boom. All right, I love it. Backside crooks are sick. Nollie in, nollie out. And we'll just add a comma there for fun. Now, so we've changed the class to call this. I also want to go ahead and change the size. So on the first modal, we're launching a large one. To trigger a medium one, go ahead and add an MD. And then for the small one, go ahead and add an SM. All right. And then now we've got to add these data targets to our buttons up here. Remember? So here's our buttons. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the data toggle modal and the data target here. I'm going to copy all of that. And then I'm going to come into my button And right at the end, I'll go ahead and paste that. And then I'm going to change this part here. All right, so this one was a 360 and it was a modal, and this one's an MD. If these classes are different, if you have your modal trying to be triggered by a 360 modal large and you put an MD on the button, it's not going to trigger it. It has to be exactly the same. All right, so this one is our medium, and then come over here, paste it. And this one is going to be the BS crook. And this one is going to be the small modal. All right. Very cool. So we've got our modals set up. They should all be triggered properly. So everything's saved. Let's go ahead and save this and make sure everything's still working. So we've got our kickflip. Kickflips are easy. Pop, flick, catch, land. And then we've got our 360 flips. 360 flips are easy. Pop, scissor kick, catch, land. And then our backside crook. All right, and something interesting is happening here. I'm not seeing the modal change size here. So let's go back and check out what's going on. All right, so we've got our data target with the kickflip modal large. And this is a modal medium and a modal small. Now this is really interesting because those targets aren't supposed to be called at all. Let's come down here. All right, so we've got our kickflip modal, and it is got the modal large. Oh, you guys, this is one thing that we have to change too. So do you see right here the modal dialog, and it says modal large? We got to make sure that these are consistent with the sizes that we've added here. And then we have one more right here. All right. So our modal is being triggered, right? Because we've got the right class being called, but the content isn't changing size because in this modal dialog wrapper here, this is where the content actually is. So we're calling the modal, we're triggering it, but we're not changing the size of it because we don't have this modal small. All right, so make sure that's saved, and let's try this again. So I'm going to refresh, make sure my changes take place. So we've got a large one. That's great. There we go. Now we've got a medium, and then we've got a small. So that's awesome. So that's it. That wraps up this video. We have learned how to use different sized modals and how to organize some of the content inside of those. So cool stuff. Let's